Tiffandra's.
My voice is disgusting.
Listen to Tiffandra's ASMR. Here she is tapping her nails on the microphone. That's it. It's called Tiff's ASMR.
10 years later.
Yeah. You're just gonna press it every time.
Yeah, like, we're gonna say the darkest shit. We're gonna be like, yeah, I saw a dog get run over by a car today.
Dude, okay.
Hey, you want to start right now? Like,
Okay.
intro. 1, 2, 3.
That's a really impressive intro. But hello, welcome to Always Loud with...
I'm Matt.
And I'm Tiff.
Oh my god. I said, hi Matt.
I thought you said I'm mad, and I was like, you're me and I'm you. Okay, I'll go off this.
Okay.
No, I mean today, you and I are going to be discussing student living, both on the international perspective and the national perspective.
That's right.
I being obviously the national perspective, being born and raised Torontonian, and you being...
Well, I came here like 6 years ago from Mauritius, and I have a French background, so it was like a big cultural shock, kind of.
Did you have to do French here?
French here?
Yeah, like a lot of Canadians have to learn French when when they're here, but you kind of skipped all that when you got here?
Oh, I never had to do that. I didn't know we had to do that.
Well, it was a high school thing, so you came in...
I came in right after, for my first year of university. I went to the University of Toronto.
Sure.
So I came in as a domestic student too. So I didn't really have to pass any pastoral. I had to pass an English test, actually. It was called the IELTS.
So how did you come in as a domestic student?
I'm a Canadian citizen.
You're a Canadian citizen. Oh, okay, but you were...
So that's complicated. My dad is a Canadian citizen.
Sure.
But he moved to Mauritius a long time ago before I was born, and that's how I got the Canadian citizenship by inheritance.
Oh, okay.
But before that,
like...
I never really had any ties with Canada.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
So when I came here with Canadian, like on the domestic status.
Yeah.
So...
Yes, so you inherited your Canadianness.
Ship, yes.
Canadian citizenship.
From one of my parents, my dad.
Yeah.
So
you had a Canadian passport.
I have a Canadian passport, but just like to answer back to your question, your initial question, I think that when you come to like Toronto, like non-francophone country, just to study on a study permit, on a work permit, I don't think you have to pass any French test, unless you go to Quebec, or unless you have to pass like an exam for citizenship or PR, right?
No, I think you're right. I don't think you need to do any French. Sorry, I'm the loud one. I'm always loud. You're always quiet. We'll go with that title next. No, but...
Loud and quiet.
For the test, yeah, there's no French-speaking component. No, what I was more asking, because like here in Toronto, or here in, I think in all of Canada, at the very least, you have to do like French in elementary school, and then we learn like 1 year in ninth grade, and then it's up to you if you keep going.
Probably. I just heard that people do a lot of like, every time like I say, oh yeah, like I speak French or something, people are like, oh yeah, I did French immersion, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's something that's required when you're at school here.
That's actually like the more advanced. So like French
Okay.
immersion, here is actually my brother did it. It's like I think they do half a day of just French. So they'll do like regular courses. They'll do like math and all that stuff. But I think it's in French. I didn't actually take it because I hated French, which is ironic.
Because now you're taking French.
Because now I'm taking French because I'm trying to learn French. Yeah, so regrets. But no, my brother's now, I think, technically fluent in French. But he... I wouldn't know because he refuses to speak French around my family. So for all we know, he may have learned German in all those years, and like we genuinely couldn't tell the difference.
What a secretive brother.
No, seriously. He'll sing. He went to a choir school, and we heard him sing 1,000 times. But French, like, I didn't even know he was in French immersion until we found out he was like getting 90s, and we're like, you can speak another language? Like, he doesn't even know Polish that well. But I was going to say that, like, yeah, same thing, I think, with the passports, is that my parents are Polish, but I never, like, I just got a Polish passport because they're my parents. Here? Yeah, I was born here. I'm first generation born, yeah.
Okay. Mm. So you still have your Polish passport?
Yeah. It needs to get renewed. Otherwise, they won't let me in. I'm pretty sure the picture is still me as a baby, so I'm pretty sure they're gonna have questions if I show up with that. But you know, I don't think it's too tough a process as long as my parents help me get it back, and I speak the language, which seems to be apparently a big contributor to renewing it. So
probably,
you know, but yeah, I mean, we were gonna talk about the differences, like culturally, because you came. How old were you when you came from Mauritius?
I was like 17, gonna turn 18. I think I turned 18 the first day of university class.
Oh, so, like the first day?
Yeah.
September?
September, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that was like the saddest birthday ever. Because my parent had just like dropped me like in Toronto, and like they left maybe a week before, and because I didn't attend Frosh Week,
no friends.
I had no friends, and I went. I went to. I remember because like I went to the 7-Eleven because the cafeteria was not open yet on campus, so I went to 7-Eleven to have my first birthday meal as 18 years old, and you know at the time like. You can drink, like, the legal age to drink in Toronto is 19.
Sure.
So I didn't do shit, and I was just, like, in my room, my dorm room. It was hot as fuck because, like, there was a heat wave. I could hear people cheering and shit because, like, they were doing Frosh Week, which I was not part of. And I remember, like, sitting on my dorm bed with my noodle cup thing, and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck am I doing here? And so and then I went to my first class, political science. It was like the big ass like room, like the like convocation hall for those who know. It's so huge and no one talks to you, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, like the 300 student classes kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, I mean that 18-year-old birthday, that sounds like basically the biggest realization of adulthood right there, just sitting in a room with a cup of noodles. Yeah, especially when you move
somewhere you don't know. My English accent was very weird at the time. Because, like, when I learned English, most of my professors, they were from, South Africa, Great Britain, sometime, like, Australia.
But they did teach English.
They taught English.
Sure.
But, like, the accent I grew up learning was, like, like, for instance, I would say, like, a bottle of water. No, a bottle of water.
Bottle of water.
Or to say, like, the pants, I would say, like, a pair of trousers.
Well, at least now you know how to fit in.
People were, like, super confused because, like, my accent was, like, a mix of, like, French and then, like, weird British English kind of thing. So people were, like...
French.
Yeah.
So was it, like... Because here we just have one class, like, a day. Like, it just is, like, French for an hour. So did you just do English for an hour, or was it, like, immersion where, like, you did half and half? Or
it was a little bit more advanced. Oh. I don't know how many hours I had in a week, but, like, I think I did the equivalent of French immersion, but, like, in English. So, like, a more advanced thing.
Yeah,
So
I was
same, like
wondering.
I was doing like a little bit of like math classes in English, history, and political science in English. But like not, it was not like when I came here, I was shocked because I was like, my English is shit. So yeah.
I mean, you picked it up though. Like, how do you feel? Like, when did you start to feel more confident with your
It took
English?
some time because, you know, like I was doing a degree in political science.
Sure.
So like writing essays and like starting to do debates in English, that was hard to pick up. But like speaking informally with friends,
Sure.
like I got it. And like I was like watching other series like Friends, for instance, like in English. So like that helped a lot.
Did you have
but-
like subtitles on in French?
No.
No, you just did.
I just did it raw, but like it helped me in terms of picking an accent and like picking like a flow. Like I was more fluid.
Sure.
So
Wait, did you have like a friend? Like, were you like, do I want to talk like Joey? Do I want to talk like Ross? No, definitely not Ross. You know, should I talk like Rachel? Like,
I actually did.
yeah. So we're just trying to talk like Rachel, or
No, I was doing like a little mix. You know, like some characters they have their little phrases. You know, like Chandler was like, "Could you be any more?"
so true. You 100% have done that. Wait, that's so accurate. Now that I like think about it, I see like so much of like little bits of Phoebe in the way you've said some things as well. Oh my god.
Yeah, so
true.
like, you know, that's how I basically learned English. And there was like my friends at the time at university, they were saying stuff like it'd be like that sometimes or
True. The slang.
or you know, like I don't know, like random phrases that they would say and then like I just picked it up and like, you know, assimilated.
Assimilated. Did
Saying
you
like,
were
oh my
there-
god, that's something I used to like never say ever, not even in French, like, oh mon dieu, like, no, never. But like, because so many people would saying like, oh my god. So, yeah.
Was there any like phrase where like you did like, because you seem like someone who would just ask right away if you didn't know, but was there like a phrase that you heard someone say and then you just started using it without fully comprehending what the heck it meant? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many times. I think like when I talk to you, sometimes like I use phrases and words that I don't even know what it means. Or anyone. Jervis? Do I? Probably. I know I do, because sometimes I look it up afterwards.
I mean, that's fair. I do that too anyway. So, and I grew up here. Like, so many of the newer, like, whenever I use, especially now that I have a younger brother who's like in university, like first year or now going to the second, like, I will use some like slang that was a thing when I was in high school. And then this kid will look at me and like he will look at me and as if I'm about to enter a retirement home. Like,
How old's your brother again?
huh? He's 19.
It's not even.
He's not. It's like, I think it's a 7-year difference. And like, we're technically the same generation, but this kid will literally look at me as if I'm a grandpa. Like, I swear to God, sometimes he'll like be like, all right, go back to 1997, you. Dude.
He's like pure Gen Z, eh?
He's pure Gen Z, and I always like tell people, like, what's the one before it? Millennial? I think it's millennial. Whatever.
Gen X.
No, Gen
No?
X. Gen X
I
is
think that
after.
came
Huh?
Yeah.
Gen X is after. No, I think it's millennial. I always tell people because like they say the last millennial was born in 96, but I was born in 97. But I'm like, I was just a year late.
No,
Like,
it doesn't make it that different.
huh? It really doesn't. And like I got the same, I think, influence. But anyway, that doesn't matter. But no, so we were talking that you were okay. So you got used to English here, but like I guess because like Mauritius has a lot of influences from different countries on like its own culture, right? So like, do you see any similarity? Like, how different was it?
It was very different to me. Cause, like,
Was it?
Mauritius, like, although it used to be like a French and a British colony before,
Sure.
I don't know, like, it's different than when you're in North America. Like, everything was big. I had the biggest laugh of my life when I went to Costco, I remember. Because everything was, like, huge, and I was like, this is a big joke. You could actually sleep in Costco. That's so cool.
How big? What,
No,
so
but, like,
are,
you know, like, Costco is gigantic. That was cool.
yeah, it's like a
But,
warehouse.
like, even, like, you know, like, my brother, he moved here last year or something like that, and he also grew up like in Mauritius and
Sure.
that kind of thing. So he was also lost, and he pointed out that he doesn't know how to socialize with people because he doesn't understand humor. He doesn't understand humor here.
That's okay.
And I was like, oh my god, that's so right. And he was like, how did you do that? How did you like make friends and shit? And I was like, I don't know, watch Friends.
Sheer luck. You watch Friends to make friends.
And then like, well, I don't know, like, you know, like you pick up the humor, the sense of humor.
That's what the writers made. That's why they called it Friends.
I never realized how different it was to make, like, you know, in terms of like sense of humor and like.
For him, so he's like struggling to find a sense of humor.
Yeah, well, he left now.
But he's like, they don't understand my jokes here.
Exactly.
I'm going somewhere better. There's no sense of humor in Toronto. I'm out.
He was like, when people are laughing, he was like, I don't understand it. And I was like, you're right. I remember not understanding, but like laughing just in case, you know? So.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like that's a lot of people's issues. People still don't understand my jokes, even though they are hilarious, you know?
I think you're hilarious.
Somebody has to. But no, you were talking about like, so for your brother was the sense of humor, but like you're saying it's different, like everything's bigger here.
Everything's bigger, everything's different in terms of like, because you know, like
people wise too,
people wise, and then like you grew up like when you socialize with people, there's like a cultural background behind it.
For sure.
And like coming here, not knowing what's the cultural background here, what makes people laugh, what makes people like bond with each other. That was hard at first. I was very lonely for the first couple months. Not maybe like the first month because like, you know, when you live on campus and everything, that's kind of like easier to make friends because you're surrounded with people who go through the same struggle. Yeah. But like, you know, like when you don't live on campus, when you don't know anyone and you're starting a new job, you're starting a new school and you don't live around people who, you know.
Sure.
It's hard, and like Toronto is very individualistic. That's what I noticed when I came here. Like, it's hard to go on a lunch or on a coffee by yourself.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, just like the way, like, even like how the city is like laid out, it's hard to bond with people in the city, if that makes sense.
I think I saw something that like Toronto is one of the loneliest cities. But, like, I don't know.
I think it's a very North American thing. You go, like, in Europe, or you go, like, in... Well, Europe is the perfect example because it was not built for cars initially. You know what I mean? Like, here, you have to have a car to go everywhere. Rather than when you go... I don't know. I lived in Paris for a little bit.
Sure.
You don't need a car. It takes you more time to take the car to go everywhere, and it's...
Is it just a better subway system? Or
better subway system, but like even like you know like the size of the pavements are like smaller, so like it's and like the size of the buildings are more like humanly scaled. So that makes like a difference in the way that you use city infrastructure.
So when you say like humanly scaled, you mean like what, less
elevators? Tall, yeah, less tall, but like less.
Sure.
You feel like when you walk in Toronto, you feel alone. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
very
because
small.
You feel
I guess.
small, and then the pavement is so big. You're less prone to bump into someone, or you know, have a conversation with someone randomly in the street. It's harder to do in such an environment. So to me, that was like because I'm a very like I like the city. So that was like a very difficult thing to navigate and to meet people.
Yeah.
And like going alone in like places, that was very daunting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so like you feel, well, do you think that's like, do you feel that's just because of the city, or do you feel like that's also part of being international, like you just got to Toronto?
I think both too.
Yeah.
But what I came to like about Toronto is that there are so many, like, it's very cosmopolitan. So there's so many immigrants here.
Sure.
There's so many other different cultures.
Sure.
I learned about, although I'm from abroad, I came to learn about other people from abroad and I learned so much about India and Kenya just this year today. You know, and I learned a lot about the Caribbeans when I just came there because, you know, I had friends from the Caribbeans. Or, you know, like, in China.
For sure.
Yeah.
And like when you think of our class, like compared to your, because you did the university degree, like I personally feel like that 1 year or the 2-3 semesters with our class, because we had all these international influences, there's like so much more closeness within the class than like if you went to like I did 4 years in psych, and like sure some of my classes were tiny, but making friends, like even if I made a friend, it was just for that class and none of them stuck, right?
Right. I agree with you.
Like yeah, we're here with our class, like we're still like we have people in Angola, Somalia, Kenya, whatever. Our class is still like in this group chat, still talking.
We have a strong bond.
Yeah,
together.
100%. And I think that comes from that, like that cultural integration from like outside. Because yeah, you're right. Like Toronto's pretty lonely, and I do think that there's so much, like, I mean, so much has happened. You know, like there's all this media that kind of puts people apart, and then there's aggressors. People are scared of the streets here and there sometimes. I think COVID also really...
COVID played a big part of it.
For sure.
Before COVID, from university, like student life was different. Because, like after COVID, people wanted to make friends. And I don't know.
That's true. I actually do think it's going to change a little bit. I think like Toronto's in a weird spot where just because it's set up to be lonely, it's like a balance of being comfortable going to places alone, which, like, I think is just something people have to get over, personally, because, like, I feel like so many people, like, go on social... Like, your brain, like, is telling you, oh, I'm with someone here. Like, people are looking